Hello, today we will be learning about functions. Now, in functions chapter, we will learn about interval notation and identifying functions today. We won't really learn too much about what the main definition of functions are, but we'll be learning about the interval notation and how to identify the functions. So what is interval notation? Interval notation is basically a number line, alright? So it goes for however far. We can say this is 5, and we can say this is -1. We can say this is 0 or something. And so basically interval notation basically means symbols that mean that tell you the numbers in between two particular numbers. Now for this case, for this number line, the two particular numbers will be 5 and -1. And the numbers in between them are between these two numbers. The 5 between 5 and -1, these are the numbers. So basically, we're going to use symbols that tell us the numbers that x can be equal to between these two particular numbers. So x can be the numbers between these two particular numbers. So that's basically what interval notation is. It's symbols that tell you what x can be for the numbers in between two particular numbers, which are the 5 and -1. But anyways, I might be confusing you, so let's just get right into it. So, identifying interval notations, there are two things that you need to keep in mind. There are square brackets and there are round brackets. Now, square brackets basically are indicated by a filled-in circle, and a round bracket is identified by a circle, like a hollow circle, sorry. And so what do they mean? Well, basically, when you have a question that gives you a number line and they give you like a filled-in circle and then goes over to a hollowed-out circle, what that means is that you can already identify how to write this interval notation. So remember, this is an interval notation, for example. This is an interval notation. It's like this, you know, it's like boom. But they have different ways to identify it. So just from looking at this little key thing I made, we can identify this is a filled-in circle, so we would write a square bracket, and we would write a round bracket because this is a hollow circle. Then we can write a comma. And what are the numbers that these little circles are above of? It is above -1, so we write -1 here, and it is above 5. So, our interval notation that we just made is square bracket -1, comma, 5, round bracket. And now what do these weird things mean? What does the square bracket mean, and what does the round bracket mean? Well, the round bracket and the square bracket mean different things. So the round bracket equals excluded, and the square bracket means included. Now what does it mean by included and excluded? Well, it basically means so that if you imagine this line graph, right? Let's get rid of this actually. You imagine this number line. We want to find, maybe the question asks you, what are the possible values of x, right? What can x equal? Well, what it means is, when it means included, means that x can be that number. So if you can identify, that it's a colored in circle, and that means a square bracket, and square bracket is equal to included. That means that by included, it means that x can equal -1. So x can equal to this value here. And basically, if that means included and this is excluded, that means if you see a hollow circle, and obviously a hollow circle is equal to a round bracket, and a round bracket is equal to excluded, that means that x cannot equal 5 because it is excluded out. So basically, you can think of this a different way. Basically, 5 really hates x, so he doesn't let him be included, so he excludes x out of the Uno game. But -1 is like good buddies with x, so he includes x into his Uno game. Therefore, x can equal -1, but then x cannot equal to 5 because 5 doesn't let him to be included with him. So that's basically what it means by included and excluded. So that's what it means by a square bracket and like another square bracket, or like another square circle round bracket or a square bracket, right? Let's do another number line real quick, and I'll show you a different kind of thing. The ways that these interval notations can be written out are, so basically these are all the possible ways that interval notations can be written out as, right? And so interval notations, let me do an example, a very easy, simple idea that you can get across, and it's just included and excluded. So let's do another example of -1 and 3. We can both do included, so that, and they're both circled in. Basically, remember, square brackets equals circled in, filled in circles. So that means square bracket, and it's -1 and comma 3. That equals -1 and 3. That is our interval notation. And so what we can do by doing this is that it means, remember, square brackets means include. That means by square bracket -1, x can equal -1, but also square bracket 3, x can also equal to 3. And be sure to keep in mind that x can equal any number in between these two numbers as well. It's just that when you write interval notations, or when you see the number line and they give you the filled in circles, it basically means that x can equal to -1, x can equal to 3, and x can also always equal to any number in between these two numbers. So let's give you another example to get your head across. If we do 4 and 8, they're both hollow. So both hollow equals round brackets, and round brackets equals excluded. So remember, we both hollow, so we write hollow bracket, not hollow bracket, round bracket 4, and round bracket 8. It means that x cannot equal to 4 and 8. So x cannot equal to 4, and x cannot equal to 8. So what does that mean? Can x just not be any value? No, x can still be a value. X can be any value above 4 and below 8. So it can be anything over here, anything in between those two numbers. It just can't be 4 or 8. That's what it means by exclude. So that's what interval notations are. They are represented like using square brackets or round brackets, and you will either be presented with a number line or a notation, interval notation, and you will have to draw it on the number line, or you have to turn the number line into an interval notation, which is really simple, really, think about it. But it's really just a number line, right? Pretty sure everyone knows what a number line is. So let's get on to identifying functions. So how do we identify a function? Well, we just identify a function called vertical test. Now, what's a vertical test? Well, it's just something that you just do from top to bottom. You just cut down from top to bottom. And basically, there are two things to keep in mind. If it passes through, or if it passes/touches one time, that equals a function. If it touches twice, 2 times, is not a function. Very simple. So let's try this out. We go from top to bottom, and it touches the line once. So that means it touches once. It is a function. Let's do another graph. Here, we cut through, touches once here, and second time here. That means touches twice, not a function. So this is not a function, but this is a function. So that's basically how you identify what functions. But I want to show you something else. There are 4 different main functions you want to keep in, 4 different graphs you want to keep in mind. So a linear, a parabola, sideways parabola, and a circle. So if we just use, so we already know that by cutting through vertically, these pass through once, twice, we cut through once, cut through once, we cut through once. So basically, both of these cut through once, so that means equals function. These cut through twice, so they're not a function, obviously. Just simple like that. But what I want to show you guys is how to name and classify a function. So we do it as y to x. Basically, y is a horizontal test, and x is a vertical test. So let me show you. So let's do the horizontal test. So horizontal test is y, and vertical test is x. So let's do the horizontal. Boom, boom. So it's literally just a horizontal line. And so we keep this in mind. If it passes through 2 points, it is equal to it is called many. If it passes through 1 point, we call it 1. And basically just substitute the results in. So let's do the first one. It passes through once when you do the horizontal, and horizontal is y. So it passes through once for 1 point, so it's called 1. I'm doing this one right now. And we go the vertical test, which is x, and that passes through 1 point here as well, so we call it 1-to-1 relation. So that's basically it. This is pass through 1 point equals 1. So it's 1, and then you do 2. You do the word here 2, so we move it down. Whatever, it doesn't need to be moved down, we just put 2 there. And we do the vertical test, which is x, and it also comes out as 1 point, so it's called a 1-to-1 relation. Let's do this one over here. We pass through 1 point here and 2 points here for horizontal. That means 2 points equals many, and horizontal is equal to letter y. So for the horizontal test, which is y, we pass with 2 points, and those 2 points equals many. So it is called many. 2 question mark. What is question mark? It is x. So what? How many times does it pass through when you do a vertical test? It touches it once. So it is 1 point is 1. So many to 1. So this is the relation. It's called a many to 1 relation. Let's do this one, a sideways parabola. So as you can see, it passes through once using the horizontal. So that means passing through 1 point, it is equal to 1. 2 using the vertical test, which is x. Pass through once and twice. And twice. 2 points equals 2 points is equal to many, sorry. So that is equal to many. So 1-to-1 function, or not function, 1-to-1 relation, many-to-1 relation, 1-to-many relation, and so the final one, it passes through 1 point here, 1 point here when you do the horizontal, sorry, and that is y. 2 points is equal to many, so you write many, and then you do 2, and then you do a vertical test, and that passes through 2 points as well. Sorry, that's not the vertical test, that's just the normal thing. It passes through here and here, there's 2 points. That's many as well. So these are the 4 naming stuff that you have to remember is 1-to-1, many-to-1, 1-to-many, and many-to-many. It's super easy to understand and write down because all you need to do is identify using the horizontal test and the vertical test. So this horizontal twice equals 2 points equals many, and you know horizontal is y, so you put many first, and then you do 2. And you want to do the vertical test, which is x, so you do the vertical test, and it passes through 1 point, and 1 point equals 1. So by doing this, it is a many-to-1 not function relation. It is called a many-to-1 relation. So basically, that's how you identify a function. You use the vertical test, and how an interval notation is. It is just a number line, and it is demonstrated through symbols to identify if x can be that number or if x cannot be that number. And so that is what functions are. Thank you for listening. Have a great day and keep on mathing.